until he feels it is perfectly straight. Actually, that looks a little... Hold on a second here. It's a little dirty. I don't know if that would be better. Welcome. Carrie is here already. Thank you for joining us, Carrie.
Hello.
Give us a second here. I forgot to turn the sound off. Okay. We are ready to go. So tonight we're going to talk about some big happenings this week. And it's only Monday. And it's already been big happenings.
How about that?
So that's pretty good, right? Get a good start off to the week. There's nothing better than feeling like you've already accomplished something by Monday.
It's very true.
So, Prep for Eternity's here. Thanks for joining us. And Tara's here. Hey, welcome, Tara. Thanks for coming. So anyway, do you want to give your usual update?
Sure. So the nursing school.
Oh, welcome, Grammy.
Hello, Grammy.
And Debbie.
Nursing
and
school.
And Silvermoon. They're popping in.
They are. Nursing school this term is over. I get about 4 weeks, so I'll go back the middle of January. So that's awesome. Finished out this term. I was pretty proud of myself. We had Pharmacology 1. We don't really learn about the drugs too much. It's mostly about how drugs are administered and then all of the calculations you have to do. I don't know. The hardest calculations, I guess, would be with drip rate. It wasn't that hard. I got 100% on that final, so that felt really good. And then we had a care of the child final for our maternal child part of that class, and I did really well. So it feels awesome to be finished. I'm basically halfway through. I have 2 more terms. I'll have a term January to March, and then a second term, and that's all like classwork stuff with clinicals mixed in, and then another term March to May that'll be bookwork, and then after that I do my practicum. So we're like,
see the end at the end tunnel.
We're getting there. And for practicum, they're actually going to talk to us about it in January, and they give us, we can't just go anywhere for our practicum. They give us a few different options, a few different floors you can choose from. I don't know. They maybe give you like 8 to 10 options, maybe less. I'm not sure, but I have no clue where I want to go and do my practicum. So I might just leave it up to them, but we'll see. So school is going well. They say this next term that I'm going to have in January, it's an 8-week term, but they say it's the most difficult and the most challenging. It will be Pharmacology 2, where we do have to learn about all the drugs, and then Med Surge 1, which is just kind of a deep dive into all the different diseases and such, and a deeper dive into like more of the nursing skills too. So it'll be intense.
Let's see, we missed a whole bunch. Let's see.
We did.
Carrie says, woohoo, good for you. Pam is here. Thank you for joining us. And Debbie says, congratulations. Charlie and Judy are here. We hope Judy is feeling better. I know she wasn't feeling well last week. Prep for Eternity, congratulations. And Jepco, good job. You did a good job. That was a lot of work.
It was.
Arkansas Prepper, welcome. And Nicole, thanks for stopping by before bed. I know, depending on where you are in the world, this is either...
This could be a tough time.
This could be in the middle of your dinner, or this is in like the middle of the night. So Beth is here. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, we're very excited. So he's halfway through in-person nursing classes, but the journey actually started the year before. Like he had to qualify for nursing school first. He had to take a whole bunch of prerequisite classes online because he didn't, he hadn't been to school in so many years. So it's been...
Technically, I'm more like 75%
You're 75% of the way there. So it's been a long journey, but I also feel like it feels like it's gone by really fast. Do you feel like that?
Oh, man. It's crazy how fast it goes. We have so much reading, so much homework. We have so many tests that the weeks just fly by.
They do.
I mean, I look at a day and it's gone. I don't feel like I've done anything as far as studying and such goes, but anyway.
All right, so anyway, on the farm, it's been exciting. So today was the big day, and we took our animals that we raised for meat, and we actually took them to the butcher shop today, and it felt so great to actually like make my goal. Mm-hmm. So back in the spring, I told Sam, I was like, I think I want to get a couple sheep and try to raise them and see if we like raising them. And he was kind of like, well, I think sheep would be good, but now is not really a good time to add something. I won't be able to help you because he's really busy with school. And I decided to just go for it and see what happened, even though I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never even built fence before. We did that myself this year. I didn't know anything about sheep. And he's the one, like, he is a very well-read man when it comes to farm animals. He likes to, like, research methodically for a very long time before we go into something, which is good because then we're very prepared. But I was not the one with all that knowledge up here, so I was kind of learning, trying to like cram it in and then learn a little bit as I go. So I learned a lot, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But it went really well. I feel like the sheep were actually pretty easy. They're not real clever like the goats are, so they're not always getting themselves into stuff that they shouldn't be getting themselves into.
But when they do get themselves in something, they cannot figure it out.
Yeah, I can't.
Like once or twice, like one of them would slip through a fence and wanted to be back with all the other animals, but just could not figure it out. Even though, like, at that time, there may not even be any fence in the way. Like, they just didn't know what was going on. It's kind of funny sometimes.
So one of the big questions when we started, Sam said, all right, we'll do it, and, I'll do most of the work. And then he's like, but I don't know how you're going to get him to the butcher shop. He's like,
that's true.
We have a truck, but we don't have a trailer. We don't have, like, a cage top for the truck to put him in there. And I was like, don't worry about it. I'll put him in the van. And he was not so convinced that was going to work out. But it did.
It did?
It did.
Yep. We had enough dog crates and cages that they all, basically perfectly fit in.
Yep.
If they were a little bit bigger, it would not have worked. But
so actually last night, so I got the van ready last night, and I put the big dog kennels in so that they just fit. Take some seats out of the van and stuff. And I went to bed and I was like, oh man, I hope Sam, because Sam was like, I'm not sure. He's like, those kennels are big, but our one white sheep is a hoss.
Yeah,
it's a big
huge.
Sheep. He's like, I don't think he's going to fit. I think we're going to try to do this in the morning, and you're not going to be able to bring him in. And I was like, oh, dear Jesus, please make that sheep fit.
His buns were right up against the back of that cage.
But
we
he
had to
got in there. Hold the door and lock it.
Squeak, put a shoulder into it and
so now we know we can fit 2 sheep and a goat in the back of the minivan and get them to the butcher shop.
And then we'll pick up the meat on,
it should
maybe
be ready Friday, but
maybe
we probably
Monday.
would pick it up after Christmas because I doubt they'll be open over the weekend.
Yeah,
so.
it just kind of depends.
Oh.
Hey, Nicole, thank you.
Thank you very
For
much.
the super chat.
Do sheep need hoof work too?
Yeah, they'll need hoof work. These sheep weren't even a year old, so they don't need a lot. You just got to kind of keep an eye on it. Some people have a lot of like rocks or gravel and things like that their goats and sheep are on, so they won't need much. But these guys they're fine. They run around a lot. I think some people, like if you keep your goats or sheep in like a smaller pen and stuff, they might not get they might need more hoof work more often. It just kind of depends how you keep your sheep, where you keep them.
Our land is it's like a hillside kind of very.
In the back, you can't really tell from any videos or anything, but like the back half of the pasture back there too, it actually is pretty gravelly and rocky. So these guys didn't need a whole lot of hoof work. But yeah, they're a lot like goats if you've had them. The same kind of sort of deal.
I will tell you, I don't think my van will ever smell the same though, because they're stinky. Sheep are really stinky. I'll give them that.
True.
I took it.
They're not as stinky as the goats, the buck goats.
Yeah, that's true.
Those buck goats
but they have
gross.
just a distinct musky, sheepy smell.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything is going to smell like that in the van for a little bit. So I took it to the car wash, and they have the big super vacs, and I vacuumed it out and tried to air it out and stuff. Well, I think it's still going to be.
We might need to spray it down a little
Some
bit
Febreze,
and wash.
take out stock in Febreze.
We were actually talking. We're like, the sheep were pretty easy, and they were really hardy too. We didn't really have.
Not all sheep are though, right? Like this specific.
Yeah, we got Katahdin. They're a hair sheep as well, so you don't have to shear them. So that's nice. But we were talking about maybe in the future at some point in time, maybe getting a few breeding sheep and going that route. I think it would be a lot easier. Like once we do have a little stock trailer and things like that. so transporting them, things like that, it won't be that difficult.
It was nice though. So like if you were on a little bit of land and you think, well, I want to maybe raise an animal for meat, like sheep was really nice because I didn't need any equipment to move them or to feed them. Like I could do it all just with my muscles in my little van, you know. And so that was nice. When you get into larger, even pigs, like I don't know that you could get a big pig in the back of a minivan. I mean, you could, but he'd destroy it. You wouldn't fit him in a kennel. So like pigs and cattle, like when you start getting into those, even though those are the very like American homestead animals, I feel like, or what people think about, like, oh, we got to get a cow or a pig. Like you have to start getting into owning the equipment to move them, and for sure. That starts getting expensive.
I mean, I think there are people you could hire to transport them.
Some butchers will come get them.
That's true too.
We had a really hard time finding somebody to butcher our sheep though, and part of it was planning. So now it's one of those things like, well, now we know. Nobody would take them during deer season, which was what, November basically couldn't get an appointment in November, which is really when we wanted them. Like I called in August. I was like, I know you need to call in advance. I called in August. I said, I want these guys butchered beginning of November, and called 3 places, I think, and they all said, no, we don't do anything until January because it's deer season. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, then they're going to be too big. Like you want to get them like right in that sweet spot. And so finally found a place. I did have to drive almost 40 miles though, but now I know. So if we're going to breed our own, I think we will make sure that we do it early. And that's what Doug and Stacy do. Like their baby sheep are all born in winter. Mm-hmm. And then she butchers them in October before deer season. And I don't know if that's a universal problem or if like just Missouri is very hunter heavy and so it's like a problem here, but depending on where you are, that might not be something you have to consider.
Let's see. Silver Moon says probably the lanolin in their wool or hair. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It could be. Debbie says never ate sheep. I never have.
So I have.
Laura kind of grew up on that over on the East Coast. You guys had lamb. You said most of the time it was ground lamb. So we're excited to get a bunch of different cuts and see what we like and don't like and different ways to cook it and prepare it. I think that'll be a lot of fun to add a different kind of meat to our diet. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Prepped for Eternity says, we raise sheep as well. Just be careful of rams. Mm-hmm. They can be very territorial. Yeah, we've seen videos and heard about that.
Doug and Stacy. I mean, just them. They're only like an hour away, but Sam's been up there before. He's got a ram that's always trying to knock him over, get him in the backside. I think if we did it, like a lot of people do, like the AI, don't they? Instead of actually keeping a ram on the property.
Yeah, it just depends how you want to do it. Let's see. Annoying Fan says, we have the same problem here in Texas. Got a plan for our goats. Oh, yeah, trying to get them into the butcher shop. We took the back seat out of a 64 Ford and put a Shetland horse in the back in 1970.
There were no rules back then. You could do whatever you wanted, right?
I mean,
you probably could do it.
If you gotta get that animal home some way, so you gotta figure it out. Same problem working around deer season. Yeah.
I mean, I understand they probably make a lot of money during deer season, and so they just keep the books open. But
yeah,
it's kind of annoying because it's that time. You know, most farm babies are born in the spring, so that's the time.
I think if we know next year, like, hey, we want to get a couple lambs, mm-hmm. and we pick them up in February, then like literally in February we call and say we're gonna have 2 for whenever, October, and let them know. Let's see. Love leg of lamb, says Carrie. Karen says hello and Merry Christmas to everyone. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Charlie says sheep/mutton is delicious. Just be sure you trim most of the fat, if not all of it, especially barbecued. Okay.
So here's a question, maybe for Charlie or anyone else. On the cut sheet, they had a question if I wanted spare ribs or a rib roll. And I had no idea what the difference was. So I did one on one lamb and one on the other. So I'm curious if anybody knows what the difference is. Because I thought ribs were just like, you got like a rack of ribs and that's just what it was. So I don't know. I don't know what I ordered. If anyone wants to tell me what I ordered.
It's definitely a learning experience for us. I want to actually get some of it to my dad. He likes to smoke things and see if there's anything he could smoke and we could try it. for fun.
Rise and Shine says you could do the Cooney pigs. Mine fit in a crate, and they are
yeah.
kids. Those are smaller.
Smaller, yeah,
they don't
for sure.
dig as much, right? Because their snouts are really flat. Is that what?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot about the Cooney pigs. A lot of homesteaders use that because you can butcher a whole pig and it's not going to just overflow your freezer.
Yeah, it's not a 400 pound.
Right. Silver Moon says, my problem was that my rams were too friendly, so they tried to butt me because they wanted to play. Just carried a stick with me to swat them away. I like that. I mean, both of our lambs were rams, but they were both bottle fed, so they were pretty gentle around us.
They didn't really get old enough to be aggressive either, is one of the things we talked about.
Yeah, they hadn't really grown into themselves yet.
But neither of these were ones we wanted to breed. One of them was a singleton birth, which in lambs, you want twins every time. So we didn't want whatever genetics that made him a singleton, we didn't want to pass that on. And then the other one was like the runt. He was really small when we got him. And he's still kind of small. And so we don't want those genetics. So we bought somebody's I don't wants really cheap so that we could see whether or not we liked raising sheep.
Irene says, hello from Houston. I finally caught you live.
Thanks for joining us.
Annoying Fan says, we processed a couple of our own goats, but it's so much harder emotionally to call them. We still do our own chickens, but have decided to have others take care of the goats. Yeah, the girls didn't want us to send the sheep and the goat to the butcher. But we had a discussion with them because they haven't really helped care for them that much. They did help bottle feed them
when they were really little. But since they've been out of the house, they really don't help a lot with the bigger animals. And some of it's because most of the kids are still really little, and these are really big animals.
But we told the girls, the older ones, we said, if you want to have more of a say in what happens with the animals, or if you want to be able to keep some of them, you need to help a little bit more. We had that discussion with them. Take a little more ownership. But they were a little upset that they got sent.
They weren't crying about it. It wasn't like big traumatizing.
Tears.
They were just like, oh, but we like our sheep. We like looking at them. And but you can't just feed them forever. I mean, it gets expensive.
Let's see. Charlie says, I've never butchered one, so I have no idea. Okay. Carrie's Culinary Craft says, one is bones, ribs, roll on... Boneless. Okay. Rise and Shine says, mine do dig a little, not much.
So that's the Cooney.
Yeah, I've heard, man, what's the new, is it the Idaho pasture pig? It's a new breed of homestead pig. A lot of people are trying to come up with pigs that don't dig, and I think they're just going to dig a little bit no matter what. That's just kind of what a pig does. It's going to root. I think you can breed some that aren't going to just create craters everywhere. But I think any pig's going to dig just a little bit. I think that would be really tough to stop them. Let's see. Hello from...
India.
Thanks
for joining us. It's probably middle of the morning in India, so...
Thanks for hopping on. Karen says, I meant to say hello and Merry Christmas. Oh, we got you. We knew what you were asking. So do you think... so next year, do you think you want to get... I mean, we haven't even ate the lamb yet, but if we do like it, would you want to do another couple of bottle lambs again?
Yeah, I think so, and I think we might look at maybe starting... I don't know. I say we want to look at starting breeding stock, but I know you're still finishing school this year, and that's expensive.
I think we might be like another year.
So I think we're still another year away from that. But I think I would definitely just look like I did now this year and buy somebody's kind of. These are the ones we don't want. They're we're passing on. We don't want to raise these. And so I think I would definitely do. I mean, they were simple, especially since we were already set up for goats. It was like not really any different, and so they fit in really well, and it didn't turn our schedule upside down kind of stuff.
Right.
And the girls like bottle feeding them, and this year I think the older two are big enough that like they can kind of maybe even do that on their own if they wanted to. And
I mean, they did help quite a bit with the bottle feeding. The girls did. They all kind of took turns with that. So they did help a lot when they were babies. But
and the nice thing is because you can feed sheep goat milk, and we have milk goats, it actually didn't cost us anything to bottle feed them. We just milked the goat and then fed the sheep. So that worked out really well. So
is it love from Indiana? Is that what they're saying?
I think it's supposed to be an emoji, but it's not. it's like a symbol we don't have on our computer.
Oh, maybe so.
So
We're glad you're here.
Thank you for joining
regardless.
us.
Thank you. Carrie says, sorry, typing was bad, was distracted. Spare ribs are what you think, but the rolled ribs are boneless. Okay. Well, you said we got some of each, so we'll have to figure out which ones we like. Charlie says, I believe that my grandpa and uncle would put a ring in the pig's nose, which has stopped them from digging.
I always wondered why some pigs had a ring in their nose. I never
I don't know. I don't know if it's so that you can, like they used to do, so you can hook it to lead them somewhere.
You lead him by his nose?
They used to.
Huh.
I don't think a lot of people do that.
We might have
anymore,
to do some Googling on this and find out whether or not that's true.
Some people would say some of that. I don't know. They just don't do it anymore. Like it was a
thing of the past.
Yeah, a thing of the past. But that might stop them from digging. I think the key to, well, there would be two ways to get your pigs to not dig much, and one that a lot of. Oh, okay. There. Sorry,
We're reading.
Stopped my thought.
Yeah, thank you.
I am from India. I'm the biggest fan of you and your kids. Oh, thank you so much.
And thanks for joining us live.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the two ways to keep a pig from digging that I've seen a lot of people do. So what a lot of homesteaders do is they move pigs around quickly. So they, every day or every other day, whatever it is, they'll move their pigs so that they don't get stuck in one spot digging a lot. And then the other way that a lot of people do it is, maybe two other ways, is to either put them on a concrete pad kind of a thing, or to put them on really, really, really deep mulch. So if they do dig, it's just kind of turning over your compost or mulch. But anyway, there's a few different ways to try and keep them from digging up too much.
Let's see. Karen says that must hurt the pig. Maybe. I bet. I mean, it does when they put it in. I just wonder if it just becomes part of them, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Pam says, if you don't subscribe to Missouri Conservation, the 2023 deer season is supposed to change. Okay. We'll have to look that up. The conservation department sends out, it's free, right? A free magazine?
Yeah. They send a kids one. The girls read. Oh, I guess they send the other one too.
Yeah, I think it's but a lot of times it outlines the seasons, the hunting seasons. Let's see. Beth says, our Amish friends still put a ring in the pig's nose to keep them from rooting. Okay. Yep. Okay. So everybody's confirming that. It's the Indian flag. I love this family. Lots of all. Well, thank you.
Yeah, we couldn't see I guess I don't have the character in my downloaded text, so we couldn't see what the picture
Arkansas
was.
Prepper says their nose is tender. The ring is not closed.
Oh,
okay. Gotcha. Let's see.
Karen, that is why they don't dig. It teaches them when they do to be painful. I mean, I guess it is kind of rudimentary, maybe a little bit mean. But I mean, they do an incredible amount of damage too, so that's something to, like the pigs do.
Yeah,
so
everybody has their
trade-off.
Everybody has their own way of farming and such. But anyhow.
Yeah, we talked about pigs a lot. I think it would be neat, but pigs are very smart and they do a lot of damage. And
we actually,
if a 400-pound pig got out of the fence and Sam was not home, I don't know that I would be able to get it back.
That's what we talked about. Like we had actually we're trying to decide this year kind of between pigs or like lamb or sheep. And we felt like we've never done pigs before, and that that would be a big learning experience, but we have had the goats, and that sheep were kind of like goats-ish. And so we figured that would be a little bit of an easier learning experience, and I'd say it was.
Yeah, it was. It was a nice it felt like a lateral move. Like it wasn't starting all the way over, so that was nice. I'm interested to see how much meat we actually get. That's one of the things that, like, you really don't know, because, there's a hanging weight, and there's what you actually take home, and so be curious how much meat it actually ends up being.
I'll be interested to know, too. Let's see. Annoying Fan says, interesting on the ring. I have my septum pierced, and it was the easiest piercing, even easier than a lower earlobe piercing. All right, now we know.
My mother and father raised feeder pigs. My mom could clip some tails. They had
24 sows on rotation. That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
Let's see. Annoying says we are iffy on pigs too, so we're still buying local when we need one.
That's what we do every year. We buy a pig from a friend of a friend who raises, and that works out really well for us.
Yeah, but I think if we started with pigs, we'd kind of do the same thing we did with the sheep. We'd just buy a couple of feeder pigs and do that for a year or two and see if we even like doing that. If they're too much trouble. I was afraid, like Laura said, with pigs and school, like a lamb, you can kind of shake some feed. Maybe you can do that with pigs too. And these lambs were pretty gentle. And if a little lamb gets out, you can kind of catch it and put it back. If a pig gets out, like, you're not picking it up. Like, trying to catch it's going to be hard. And if Laura was here by herself.
Up with the kids, like, I don't know that I'd be able to put it back. So, let's see. We bought pig butchered by the same guy as processing your animals. It weighed a little over 200 pounds. Yeah. And I know a lot of butchers, like the place we took the sheep, they have just pigs and cattle that you can buy from them and that they'll butcher, which is nice. So there's a lot of opportunities for local meat purchasing, which right now with like the inflation costs of meat at the grocery store, if you have the ability to buy in bulk, meaning like buy the whole hog from a farmer, you're going to save a considerable amount of money. But I also know that it can be, because we've been there, it can be a challenge to come up with the
it's
$400 or $500 to buy a really big pig from the butcher. Not everybody is in a spot to be able to do that.
You like, well, because you also have to have a big freezer too.
You have to have space to store it too.
But I know one thing you said you really enjoy about having either buying a half of a pig or a whole pig or a cow or whatever, is it almost feels like having a supermarket in your freezer.
I never buy meat at the supermarket anymore, like very rarely. The only thing I buy is chicken. Every once in a while I buy a whole chicken. True. But we've got really other stuff in there, and then you never have to worry about what the price is at the store. Like I've got meat. So it's nice.
Right.
So you clip the tails before market. I didn't know that. Do you just do it so they don't fling poo at people?
I don't know. I'm not.
Why you clip the tails before on a pig?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
Because I thought, well, in Little House of the Prairie, when they butcher the pig and roast it, the tail is like the most delicious part, she says. Remember that?
I don't remember
She eats the hot pig, like I still remember it, the hot pig's roasted tail was like cracklings. Kind of at the tail. And
it's
then,
the
like,
most delicious part,
That's what the book said. Way back when I read it. So.
On the feeder pigs before market. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people, like, when it comes to pigs, like, people are of really two different opinions. Some people are like, they're the easiest animal we've ever done. They never, ever get out. They're just so simple.
They're mellow.
Yeah, they're fun to have around. They have personalities, and they're just the best thing on the homestead. And then the other half of people are like, I hate pigs. All they ever did was get out. We couldn't keep them in. They destroyed everything. And so it just, I was like, I don't know. If it's a 50-50 shot, I don't want to take that chance this year.
This year is not the year for chances.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, at least that's what I've heard. What I think is, if you have a really, really good setup for pigs, then it's probably pretty easy. And I also think it helps, because it's helped me, especially if you have, I don't know if you want to call them a mentor, but someone that you can contact if you have questions, because trying to read it on the internet, especially if you go to forums and things like that, people post so much bad advice, and trying to find the right answer is tough. So having somebody that you could text or email real quick if you have a question about the animal, it helps so much.
It does.
Let's see.
Aunt Holly is here. Merry Christmas.
Let's see. Yeah, tell all family I said have a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. Love you all. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. We love you too. Thanks for hopping on.
Some people are obsessed with bacon, but I prefer ham and pork chops.
I will say, out of all the meat,
You're a pork chop man?
I'm a pig guy for the most part. I mean, I do like steak as well. But I like my bacon. I like ham.
Yep. Well, pork is so salty.
Chops.
Yeah.
That's true. Let's see. Arkansas Pepper says they're smarter than dogs. Right under horses. that's what I've heard too, is that they're really, really smart and really clever. If you don't watch out, like they'll figure out how to get out or whatever, cause some chaos.
I think we killed our fire back there.
I know. I put that one big log on and I don't think it was ready for it.
It's supposed to be what, negative
Whoops.
11? What is it gonna be?
Yeah, I can't remember if I think it's Friday night. It's supposed to be negative 10 here with wind chills down to like negative 20 or 30, but I know a lot of the country is having some kind of a storm blow through.
Right.
So let's see. Carrie says everything's been better with bacon. I will not disagree with you.
Bacon is delicious.
And Irene says she agrees with Carrie. And Charlie says ain't nothing better than a barbecued pork steak.
You like yourself some good barbecue.
I do, yeah. Barbecue's really good. So I don't know. We probably won't do pigs this year.
No.
Just because I'm finishing up school. But I think sheep,
yeah.
do another couple lambs. It is kind of intense time-wise with the bottle lambs because you got to feed them so often there at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
When you just got them, but...
So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I don't know how we managed. We got those lambs like right after Annie had her surgery too, and so she was doing therapy 5 times a week. We still managed to feed them 3 times a day.
I mean, at the beginning though, like the first week or two, don't you have to feed them like 4 or 5 times a day? It's a lot. They're like a newborn.
It was this
baby.
year. It'd be easier because she doesn't go nearly as much.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the goal this year is just kind of keep the status quo. We might add some butchering chickens.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's something we talked about. Well, we've done that before. And if we don't want to butcher them ourselves, there's a place not too far away that you can bring them in. It was like $1 a bird or $2 a bird. It wasn't ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. But they don't...
they don't wrap them for you.
They don't pack them. They don't do anything.
They just butcher them.
All they do is butcher them. You're supposed to bring coolers, and as they butcher them and hang them or whatever, then they put them in your cooler with ice. They give you ice, but they just pack them with ice, so you're supposed to bring a bunch of coolers. So it's pretty rudimentary, but let's see. Annoying says, oh my goodness, I want to move to Mo and found our YouTube based on this. I don't want to hear about these negative 11 temps.
That's really unusual. I don't know. We might have a couple days where it gets -1 or 0 degrees, but
I feel like what usually happens is it's like pretty mild winter weather until we get to February.
Right. This
and
is
then
unusual.
in February we'll have like 2 weeks that are pretty cold where it might get down to 0 or like a -2 or 3. But for December to have a -10 is pretty unusual. I don't feel like that happens very often. Carrie says, yikes, hit low 20s and snow in Pennsylvania.
Oh, the girls it's supposed to snow later this week, so we might actually have a white Christmas, and the girls got their fingers and toes crossed.
They do. I'm not going to lie, having a white Christmas is nice. -10, not so much, but a white Christmas, that's nice. Pam says, I'm looking forward to a cooking lamb video.
We'll all be learning together, Pam, because I only have like 2 recipes that I grew up on. The rest of it, I don't know what I'm doing, so we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I told Laura I'm excited to have that experiment to see what we do and don't like.
So, yeah.
Yeah, a taste test, exactly.
Paul, my Uncle Paul is in Florida, and he's suffering in the 50s, so don't get too cold. Wear your warm socks.
He says you can sell honey baked ham and make some dollars. Probably could. Let's see. Arkansas Prepper says that is a good deal on cleaning the chickens. 5 degrees on the way in Arkansas.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. Everybody got a cold snap coming. We're a little worried about our geese. They're not very good at going in the coop. Worried that they're going to freeze to death. So maybe a video of us running around like mad people trying to convince the geese to go in the coop so they don't freeze to death. So
I think, I don't know what we'll do. I mean, do you think we'll have to like run around every night and try and scare them in there?
Well, I was thinking maybe we put a heat lamp in there too for those really cold nights, and maybe that would like entice them because it would be much warmer in there.
They might like that. That's a good idea.
That's my theory. Anybody else? Silver Moon, you have geese. Anyone else have theories? I mean, they go in the coop, but they don't really stay.
They don't like go in
Sleep
at
or
night or
anything.
anything. They just we've
kind
got
of
some
wander
like
around.
brushy kind of stuff, and they
Yeah.
just kind of bed down in that at night a lot of times. Let's see. Tara says, "Are the sheep cheaper than pork and beef?"
That's a good question. So for us, our only costs in, so we had to buy the sheep, which was like, each sheep cost me $125. And then we bottle fed them our goat milk, so that didn't cost anything. The only thing we bought for them was a little bit of grain that they got every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end, because we couldn't get them butchered in November, I had to buy hay just here in December. And so that cost a little bit. But really, I mean, 90% of what they ate was just out in our pasture, which was great. They kind of mowed the lawn for us, so it was pretty cheap, and they didn't need they weren't sick all the time where you always needed antibiotics or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. I'll have to do the math once we actually get the meat back, and I know how much there is, to see how much we're paying, how much we invested per pound of meat.
Right.
But I don't know, because I don't know how much meat we're gonna get back yet.
Silverman says probably a lot cheaper than beef. Cattle eat a lot.
Yeah,
that's true. Let's see. Silverman says, "I've never had geese, but my Muscovy ducks would just bed down." Okay.
Annoying fan. This is a great question. We have goats and sheep. How do we deal with the copper?
Oh yeah. The goats, we give them a copper bolus. That's pretty much how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give them a. I know a lot of people would give them a copper supplement as well, but you can kind of check goats to see if they need more copper, and if so, we would probably just give them another bolus.
Right.
Giving the bolus to the goats is really easy. Where basically we'll take a banana and kind of carve out the inside of it, and then take a. You can buy pills for goats that has copper in it, and they kind of look like little beads inside almost. And I just break. Yeah, sprinkles. No, they're not separate.
We feed everybody sheep feed, so it doesn't have copper in it.
Right. But anyway, I just break apart that pill and sprinkle it inside the banana, and the goats just swallow the little banana morsel whole. They love it. So that's how we get them copper. This is our first year raising them together.
Right.
Most people would probably, the best thing would probably be to separate them out so that you could do that and give them their supplements that way. But I don't know. That's the way we kind of winged it this year.
And the goats that we're milking, they get fed their grain on the milking stand. True. And so they get the goat feed that has extra copper and stuff in it, but it's not accessible to the sheep because it's only on the milking stand, and that's where they get it. So I guess it's really just the buck that he just gets his copper bolus, and that's all but he's, oh my gosh, he's so fat. He's not starving or wasting away in any ways. He's a big boy. So.
Well, the copper helps with their immune system and keeping them healthy too. But you can check a goat's. One of the ways to check and see if they need copper or if a goat is sick in general is to pull down their eye, and if you look in the bottom, I don't know what you would call it on a goat. I guess just the bottom of the eyelid there. If a goat is healthy, that's pink. It should be a nice kind of pinky red color. If it's lighter colored or if it's white, that means your goat is unhealthy. It might be sick. A lot of times it might mean that they have worms or something like that. But that's how you can check the health of a goat really quick. Let's see. Charlie says, "Be interesting how your feeding regimen works out. Anyone I talk to about a cow, they would have a heavy grain diet a while before they're butchered, which makes the meat tender."
So a lot of times with the cattle, they'll be pasture raised, but at the very end, they'll be fed a lot of corn, right? And stuff. It makes them gain weight really fast at the end. You get a nice marble in your meat. Now, people do pasture raised cattle all the way through the grass-fed beef. It takes longer because your cow's not packing on that poundage in the last month or whatever.
Yeah, and some people are they just oh, I only like grass-fed or grain finished or whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Annoying says, that's cool to know they can live together like that. It's called the FAMACHA score. That's right. Yeah, when you check the eyelids, that's the right term,
Right.
the FAMACHA score.
And that would take away the gamey taste too. So we didn't feed out the sheep. I mean, this is my first time doing it. So the only information I have is what a friend told me who raises sheep, and then what I've read online, which everybody's got their own opinion. So I did not feed them out at the end. They've been getting grain. And
a little bit.
Yeah,
it's
a little
not
bit
much.
in the mornings, and then they get free range what we have, and then just here at the very end they got hay too because there's just not enough out in the pasture anymore. So we'll see. And maybe if we feel like they aren't, like the cuts are too lean, the next time I might try feeding them out a little bit more.
She says she was talking about the cows, or he, whoever Annoying is.
Yeah, about the cows. Yeah, and I know a lot of homesteaders, very traditional homesteaders, are very anti-feeding cows out on corn.
Oh, or grain.
Or grain or anything because they want that non-GMO, organic, pasture-raised cow, and they feel like that little bit takes it away. But I will say, if you have only ever eaten like
a certain
kind of cow, and then
yeah.
you go and you buy a heritage breed grass-fed beef that hasn't been fed out at the end, it's not the same. Like, it's going to taste almost, I feel like, a little bit dry, or it's really lean. And so it's...
They say even the way you, cook them has to be a lot different.
You have to cook it differently because it's not
doesn't have all
a
that
nice
fat
marbled...
on it.
So, yeah.
You could probably learn to like it, but
I think
it would be different.
You have to approach it differently.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'll be honest, too, as far as... raising sheep for meat, I'm actually not studied up on that too much.
No.
So I don't know if a lot of people would really feed them a whole lot of grain near the end or not. I don't know if that's something you don't do with sheep. I'm not sure. I haven't studied much on that.
We kept it pretty simple this year, so we'll see. And then I figure we can kind of fine tune it as we go along and as we learn. And we always like to share that with I feel like our channel, we're just trying to take you with us on the journey, teach you what we know, and then also just have you learn with us as we make mistakes or as we learn from what we go through. So just real life, which means maybe we'll get this back.
You guys will be shocked to know that we aren't perfect.
Yeah,
I know it's just mind blowing, but there's gonna be some mistakes sometimes. I think it's nice to show that though, because on any kind of social media, you can really show what you want and cut out what you want in life. We could do our very best to try and show an absolutely perfect life or whatever you want to call that. But I don't want to call that deceiving.
I think it sets people up for failure because if they think that they want to do this, but they don't realize all the failure that comes with it or the amount of work that comes with it, it's not all aesthetically pleasing all the time. It gets dirty and messy out there, and there's always too much to do, not enough time.
Oh yeah, you'll have things that you've tried many times before you figure out what works or what doesn't work. So yeah, I think that is a good part about our channel is that we try to be real as much as we can. So hopefully that's encouraging to some people because they can be like, hey, I made that mistake too, or whatever.
And we learn a lot from you guys. We'll do a video and I'll be like, that did not work how I intended. And usually there's 4 or 5 people in the comments. I made that video with the persimmons and I didn't realize that when you use the hand food mill, you're supposed to boil them first. I'd never used a hand food mill and it didn't come with instructions. So I figured they're already soft and squishy, just squish them. But you're supposed to boil them first, so.
Let's see. Pam says, I'm 65 years young and I've learned a lot from y'all. Thank you, Pam. Annoying says, LOL, actually the mistakes and learning makes y'all worth watching. Thank you. Irene says, that's what I like about your videos. I learn along with you. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Arkansas Prepper says, we have many small home places raising sheep on cattle ground and never had seen sheep in my area. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I never really seen sheep either until we got some. And then it's you start looking
noticing them everywhere.
for them. And there's actually 3 or 4 people around us. I won't say in the neighborhood, but I'd say within 5 or 6 miles around us when we're driving that I've seen some small herds of sheep out there.
Sheep really is an accessible way to raise yourself some red meat. If you don't have, if you have finite resources, it's a much smaller investment.
It's not going to cost you $10,000 to set up and such. Yeah. Prep for Eternity says, yep, easy to mislead on social media, plus a difference between making content to make content and making content to live life. Yeah, it is. It's all kind of, I don't know. I don't want to put any other channels down or anything like that, but I think it's important to try and show people the real side too.
All right, Carrie did a tour of her canning pantry on the channel, and a crispy pickle recipe this year turned out awesome. Those pickles are the best. If you need a pickle recipe, go look up the spicy sweet pickle recipe we have on our canning. And Carrie, I'm going to have to come by. I always like watching people's canning pantry tours. It always gives me ideas about what I could be adding. So we'll have to stop by your channel this week and check that out. I'm interested to see what you've got in there and what I could add to my pantry.
I could put those pickles on just about anything.
Those pickles are just a side dish.
Good.
I mean, you just eat them out of the jar. They it's kind of like a Sour Patch Kid. Like, first it slaps you in the face because it's so spicy, and then it's really sweet on the way down.
Laura, especially in the summer, like when we have family gatherings, like the extended family almost always asks for Laura to bring some of those pickles because we'll put them on whatever it is we're eating. I mean, all year round, but especially in the summer.
But I do have to give credit where credit's due. That is not my original recipe. It's one I adapted from Charlie and Judy, who are here in the chat tonight too. They're the ones that gave me that original recipe, which we've adapted to make it a little bit more where we like it on the spice level. Because I think when I followed Judy's original recipe, it about burned my eyelids off. There was so much jalapenos. I don't like that much spice. I like a little bit of spice. But thank you, Judy, for sharing your wisdom with us. So, Charlie said had some on a bologna sandwich tonight and ended up eating some out of the jar. I just can't help it. I put a bunch on the sandwich and then I take a big forkful before I close the jar and I eat them. They're so good.
They are really good. They don't last very long around here, for sure.
They're perfect. I know you don't really like tuna salad. A tuna salad sandwich with those pickles on top is like heaven. But
it's that good, huh?
I got a good icebox pickle. No canning needed. That's how my mom. I remember her making pickles, like refrigerator pickles, like dills. They were always really crispy. So.
Oh, nice crispy.
Nice crispy pickle.
Yeah, if you're gonna eat. Like, just eat one by itself, it's got to be crispy.
Crispy, yeah.
No, mushy pickle. Mushy pickle on a sandwich or whatever, like, I don't care. But, yeah, if it's just going to be, like, lunch by itself, nice crispy pickle is nice.
This is really random, but whenever we have to grab lunch, like, if we're in town all day for appointments, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the kids to Walmart and we'll get, like, a thing of cut fruit and some, like, lunch meat or something, and they'll pass it around the van and that's lunch. I always get myself, they have like the giant like Bubba's pickles that are in like a plastic bag and it's just one pickle. I always get that and the kids are always like, Mom, it smells up the whole van, Mom.
Let's see. Annoying says, wait, I had to step away from the computer. Are these dill or sweet pickles?
Mine are sweet and
they're
spicy. They have jalapenos in them, but they're a sweet pickle. So Irene, it's Carrie's Carrie's Culinary Crafts. Actually, if you click on her name, it might take you to her channel directly. And if not, Carrie, feel free to post your link here in our chat and people can click on. She's got some really neat, it's a new channel, but she's got some really neat content. I've been poking around in there of her working in her kitchen and to her canning pantry. So it's really neat to check out what she's been up to. So.
Let's see. Silver Moon says, I've made pickled zucchini before, just half white vinegar and half apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
Yeah, sweet and spicy, says Charlie. That's just so good.
They're
sweet
good.
And spicy. Arkansas says, Vlasic are crisp in the refrigerator section.
And Carrie says she's been putting on everything plus just putting on table with dinner. Glad I made 40 pints. They go fast.
Yeah.
Especially, like, you pop one open, well, because there's 8 of us, you pop one open, not all the kids will eat them, but, suddenly you made sandwiches and you ate half the jar, and you're like, oh, well, if it's open and it's half gone, I might as well just finish it.
Yeah, they go pretty quick.
Through them. Yeah, they're one of our favorites. We make those every year. That's a must-have in the pantry.
That is true.
I grow cucumbers specifically to make the pickles every year.
Their favorite. They're also nice. It's one of those things you can hand out to people. Cause some
and
people
it's
like
fun.
them.
Yeah.
Some people really like them. You're like, oh, we brought an extra jar. You
All
can just take it home.
pickled green tomatoes. So check out Arkansas Prepper. Feel free to post a link to that video as well if you want. People can check it out. I canned some green tomatoes, but I did them as like a salsa verde, and that's been fun. I use them in like a crock pot chicken enchilada soup recipe I have.
Yeah, that's right.
So I made salsa verde, but I used green tomatoes instead of the tomatillas or however you say it, and it worked out really well. And it used up those green tomatoes before the frost just ruined them. So Irene says she'll find the channel awesome. Welcome, Tinkerer's Wife. Thanks for joining us. Charlie said I opened a quart yesterday, and tonight there's just half of it left. They just disappear, I tell you.
It's like Christmas elves or somebody gets in and snags them all.
Iris Lady makes a garlic dill pickle that is better than the Clausens. That sounds good. I'm going to need to eat some pickles tonight when we're done with this. So
let's see. Daniel's Duckhead Homestead. Good evening, Laura and Sam. Sorry I'm late. Was washing dishes. That's all right. Thanks for hopping on. We had it's kind of funny. I don't know why. Well, it's just life. But it's always a mad dash to get things cleaned up before the live
we're
stream
rushing
on
everybody
Monday
around.
nights.
And I swear, they get like... there's a little bit of bribery going on before live streams, I'll tell you. Because after dinner, they have to do their chores, and then they can have their tablets. And if I was a 7-year-old or whatever, I would be pretty excited about being able to use my tablet before going to bed. So you think it would like motivate them to like get it going, let's go. And they don't. They're still like hustling people wash the dishes with a purpose. So
let's see. Bandana Grandma. Hi, Teal House and friends. Thanks for hopping on. There's Carrie's link if anyone wants to go check out her, was it her pantry tour?
Yes, that's her. Well, that's the channel, and then she's got a new pantry tour if you're looking for some ideas for your own canning pantry. I probably need to make a new canning pantry tour. I said that before. I try to do it every fall, and this year, just fall has gone fast.
Yeah.
So
Arkansas Prepper says mine are sweet and sour. That sounds good. Hello, Patty. Thank you for that. It's a Tinker's Wife. Glad I was able to come join the conversation. I make icebox pickles and love them. Always a hit for gatherings. Put chili pepper flakes to spice them up for the win.
Sounds good.
Ooh.
Let's see. Prep Returning made sweet squash pickles. And you can pickle about anything.
It's kind of funny.
Funny.
Like,
you can pickle about anything.
Talking about pickles, and there's just pickles. There's so many different varieties and so many different. Like, I think everyone, like, once you start making them, you kind of take a recipe and put your own little twist on it. You're like, I wonder if this would be good in it, and kind of evolves a little bit as you go for a lot of people.
Let's see. Lois is here. Thanks for joining us. And Tinkerer's Wife likes pickled beets. I am the only one, I think, in the family that likes pickled beets, but they're so
made them
tangy.
Once or twice,
I love it,
right?
like on a salad. So I didn't make them. I haven't grown beets in a few years.
The one year you made them, I ate them.
Right.
But, I mean, they weren't my favorite.
Might do it again.
They were okay.
Debbie said, annoying friend had to step away again. Would love to try your recipe if you're sure. Yeah, feel free to share. Debbie said, you learn as you go. Not everything on the internet is right. Best if you can learn from other people because they can share what they know. You can always ask questions. You can ask questions you can't really ask on the internet. And that is so true. So that's so true. I have seen some recipes on the internet, even just looking at it. I'm like, there's no way. And then part of it makes me upset, like especially canning recipes. Like people who are, water bath canning things that have meat in them and stuff like that. You're like, you're going to hurt somebody because there's a reason that there's rules, and keep everybody safe. Like, so just be careful and, on the internet. Be careful on the internet, folks, as my mom would always say.
Irene says, just subscribe to Carrie's channel.
Tinkerer's Wife, after I move into my forever place, I'm making all of the pickles.
Yes. All the pickles. I like it. Sweet and tangy, and the home canned are so much better than the store ones.
It's true.
And Holly subscribed to Carrie's channel. Awesome.
I am the only one that likes pickled beets too, so I make them 4 ounce, and that's a great idea. So I make the half pint ones, but 4 ounce would be perfect. Like if I just want one on a sandwich or like as a side, I don't open the whole jar. So Let's see. Iris Lady, how can I share the recipe? Feel free to post it here. If it's a video, just post the link or type it up in the chat, whatever works for you.
Helps.
Carrie says, I grew them in my green stalks this year. It worked awesome, actually. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. We're trying desperately to save this fire here, kind of. We got distracted at dinner, and then we didn't put logs in, and then we thought we could kind of reboot it by just throwing some logs on there, but I think it's a little too far gone, so... trying to keep it warm because it's gonna get really cold. Is it salvageable?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna toss on some of these smaller ones, see if they help.
So Pam, I've got to go. I'll leave a thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Pam. Have a good night. Let's see. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? It's been almost an hour.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like we
got
covered
it all off my chest.
We were just excited that we got those sheep in. Felt like a little bit of a miracle. Like when I actually dropped them off and they went away, I was like, we actually did it. We actually like raised them and they were a decent size and I got them up here and now we're gonna get them eat. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah. I think that's all I got.
It was a win-win. We're going to enjoy this my little school break.
Yeah.
It's so nice being able to hang out, spend more time with Laura and
the
all
girls.
The kids. We got to go on Friday. We got to take the older girls to the ballet.
Yeah, we went to St. Louis Ballet and saw the Nutcracker.
The Nutcracker. So that was a lot of fun. Got to spend some time with the older girls. They really enjoyed it. It was kind of a condensed version, so they didn't have to sit for too long. There were a ton of kids there, but they had a lot of fun.
They did. And it was good. It was good to be able to spend some more focused time with just a couple instead of 6.
I think I think we might try and go see some Christmas lights somewhere. Maybe in the next week or so.
Drive-through lights.
A drive-through lights thing.
It'd be fun.
We did that last year. They had a good time.
All right, they're sharing pickle recipes. Annoying. I found a grandma's pickle that's to die for. It's sweet, not spicy. Okay. And Annoying Fan says, honestly, I subscribed to you after learning of Ozark Homestead so I could learn the area. I haven't actually watched your videos yet, but I can't wait to see them all now after catching this live. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll tell you, we have a lot of content. So, depending what you're interested in learning about, we've been around 6 years. We've been vlogging as many as Annie is old, because we started vlogging right after she was born. Okay. So 6. We aren't quite in the Ozarks. We're a little north of the Ozarks.
We're kind of middle of Missouri.
We're in the middle of the state. So you're not going to get quite the... I mean, we have a pretty nice view. I will say that. But it's not the Ozarks. Mm-hmm. The Ozarks are absolutely beautiful. So...
Prepped Returning says, enjoyed the live. Hope you all have a very blessed and Merry Christmas. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Annoying says, please disregard my any random comment I make on those videos unless I ask an actual question. I'm just posting a comment to help your analytics. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. So, all the comments help. Debbie also makes grandma's sweet pickles, so we have a lot of those.
Let's see. The Nutcracker is wonderful. I got to see the one that Maurice Sendak designed for the costumes for. It was the Portland Ballet here it for me. It was so amazing to see it.
That's cool.
It was. The girls really enjoyed it. It's a fun ballet, and it was nice because they actually had it narrated, which I've never seen before. So really it was cool. Very easy for them to follow. They didn't have to infer what was going on. So that was really neat.
Yeah, at the beginning of each scene, they had a narrator just give a couple of
set the scene.
Yeah, kind of give a few sentences about what was going to happen.
That was nice for them.
So it was really easy. The girls didn't even ask us.
Yeah, it wasn't all. Otherwise, it would be all why are they purple or whatever. The whole thing. They knew what was going on. They followed the story. So, Carrie says she binge watched the videos when I joined her a year. So thank you. And Karen says I buy those big jars of dill pickles and add garlic and hot pepper. Woo! Let sit for a while. That sounds good. Nice and spicy. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and head out. If somebody, I think, was maybe going to post a recipe. So if you didn't get it up yet, then you still want to share it. Please feel free to leave it just in the general comments. When we close the video, you can come back in and just comment like a regular video so everybody can check it out. So, yeah, I think that's it for the night. Mm-hmm. I think we'll call it good. And next